In 2001, for the first time, N Venkatachala, who came as a Lokayukta Justice Venkatachala, he changed the whole system. It started in a big way. You catch 6 crores, 40 lakhs. A successful raid led by an officer, that officer is changed. Don't tap ಮಾಡಿದೆ ನಾನು. I made a big mistake. The non-performance of the government is not always due to corruption. Government do not want a popular organization like that which is fighting against them. Government, if it wants to close it tomorrow, they can close it tomorrow. Nobody can question that. It is 40% means how much money, But then, what was before this was also no less. I have named 3 chief ministers. Only one went to jail for 24 days. Now they have brought it down to any judge with 10 years experience in the High Court. They want to dilute the whole process. You want to expose only the other side. I'm not asking the chief minister. I'm asking the Lokayukta.
The very first question which I'll be asking you is about what Lokayukta is all about. Why do you need such an agency for a state?
Way back in 60s, the Administrative Reforms Commission made a suggestion to the central government and the state governments that in view of the lot of maladministration that is in existence at that point of time, there's a need to create a post of an ombudsman where with the power to set right the administrative process and give relief to people who suffer because of maladministration. But for nearly 20 years, no government, either the state or the central government, acceded to that suggestion. Obviously, because they knew that they are creating a weapon against themselves in the thing. In 1983, for the first time, a new political party contested the state elections in the state of Karnataka, called Janata Party. They, in their manifesto, said, if we come to power, we would create a Lokayukta institution in the state of Karnataka, as suggested by the ARC, Administrative Reforms Commission, and see that the maladministration is inquired into and sufficient relief is given to the people. Probably because of that, Janata Party came to power in that
So do you
election.
think all the call credit goes to Janata Party on this?
I think so, because no other party mentioned about it in their election manifesto, and these people mentioned it. But for 1 year, till 1984, even that party which came to power did not think about it at all. When the people started talking, you said they will implement the ARC recommendation, but it's nearly 1 year, you haven't done anything and all. Then, I wouldn't say reluctantly, but they felt that their promise has to be the same, because otherwise it will only remain as a promise like any other political party. They wanted to be something different. And they introduced the bill called Karnataka Lokayukta Act of 1984 in the assembly, which was passed with majority. And they gave a wonderful institution called Karnataka Lokayukta with lot of powers which could be given under the Constitution of India. They also gave sufficient infrastructure to Lokayukta for the purpose of implementing the provisions of the Act. Now, whether deliberately or otherwise, they did one thing, that is to appoint a gentleman or a judge from originally from Punjab, but Supreme Court retired judge and all, because that was the qualification, either a judge of the retired judge of the Supreme Court or a retired Chief Justice of the High Court who could be the thing. They brought a person from there to become the first Lokayukta. I'm not either linguistic fanatic or a parochial person, but my only concern after I came to Lokayukta was, you see, Lokayukta is a people's commissioner. People should have an access to that person. But then these persons who came from the Supreme Court, they had a feeling judges don't mix with the clients. So
maybe because they hadn't interacted earlier.
I was coming to that. But anyway, they said we judges don't talk to clients and others. You go to that person, go to this office like that, and which you recommend and all. That didn't make any change in the system. So people were not even interested in it. And one other thing, as you mentioned, they didn't want it to interact because they did not know the local language. So that was another thing to send them to some other officer. The thing. So from 1986 to 2001, this system continued of not wanting to meet with the
So
people.
there was Lokayukta all these years.
Yes, from 86 to 5 years there was one and all. Then 91, I think. 91 to 96 there was another one. So 96 to 2001 there is another one. They all followed the same principle and all. In 2001, for the first time, N Venkatachala, who came as a Lokayukta, Justice Venkatachala, he changed the whole system. He interacted with the people and he went on raids himself and all, and took money from the table of the officers or pocket of the officers, carried the TV people with him and all, showed it to the world. He became tremendously popular. They realized what Lokayukta could do, and he showed it to them that this is what I can do as Lokayukta and all.
What actually changed with Venkatachala, which wasn't there before?
In a sense, first of all, the previous Lokayuktas were not interacting with the complainant. Complainant couldn't come and interact with the thing.
Why did Venkatachala do it?
Maybe he realized that he knew the very title of the officer is Lokayukta, means is People's Commissioner. I am not to be kept in a throne and worshipped and all. He has to come down to the earth and interact with the people who are aggrieved people, basically. And the post was created to avoid people going to court. They wanted a quick relief system and all. Therefore, probably that's the reason. And Venkatachala did a wonderful job, and people loved that institution. When I came, people were full of praise, and I myself was feeling, oh my God, am I going to fit into this and all? Because I was not in public life. The thing. Anyway, I was in Delhi for 18 years.
Were you prepared for it?
I was not innocent.
Raising the bar for a Lokayukta.
That's one of the reasons I came. I was in another job, all India job in Delhi after retiring from Supreme Court, and I had put in only 1 year. It was a 3-year job and all. When I got a call from state here, they were asking me to come in because of Lokayukta. And one of the things is, right from the time that the legislation was being prepared, I was the Advocate General of the state here, so I knew the potentials of this office and that what Lokayukta could do, because as an Advocate General I could advise the government on the thing and I knew what was happening. So that was another reason, because I knew about Lokayukta position and all, coupled with the fact that Venkatachala had taken that office to such a level, I am going to such a post, it really made me very happy to come here, the thing, So I came here and I followed what Venkatachala did.
Does the government regret putting you into Lokayukta?
There is no doubt about it, because later on one chief minister said, "Don't tap madide nanu. I made a big mistake by bringing him here and all, because I named him also. I named the chief minister who invited me to become the Lokayukta. I didn't care a damn about who's who and all. When I had material against a person and all, I just had to do my job, which I did. So I was telling you, so it became a People's Commissioner's office. So how many people used to come there? By the time we had opened offices in district, this thing also, headquarters and all, where people who need not come to Bangalore could go there and the local police would see that their grievance could be redressed and all. If they can't, they would come to Bangalore office and give relief to. We used to give relief to them. There were only 2 jurisdictions for the Lokayukta. One is giving relief to people who suffer from maladministration. It is called grievance redressal. From only the government office, no private offices like the civil court or the other courts and all. Second is fighting corruption through the Lokayukta police. Because under the Prevention of Corruption Act, only a police officer can investigate. For that, the government had given a separate police post to Lokayukta police and everything. So with these 2 powers, they could tremendous job. I'm not talking about big people's problem, which we can't solve. They have to go to only court. But ordinary people who want a revenue record to be corrected, who wants a birth certificate, who wants certain statutory work to be done by the government, which is not being done by the government. So they can come to the Lokayukta, and all Lokayukta had to see is, was that complainant entitled for this relief? If he was entitled for relief, no procedure is needed. You could just take a telephone and tell them, why are you not doing it and all. Otherwise, we'll start an investigation against you and all. Now, after investigation, you can't punish him. You can only send the report to the government. And the government, if it doesn't want to do, like in many cases, they have not implemented the directions and all, then the party can go to court. And when it goes to court, the default of a government officer vis-a-vis that of the thing in when considered by the court, normally court will say, okay, we must teach a lesson to this government servant, what he is and all. So they used to investigate the thing and give relief in the lines which Lokayukta was saying.
So what would happen? Say, for like, I just want to know the entire procedure. Say, for example, somebody comes to you, lodges a complaint. You go there, you investigate, you find the person corrupt, and then you send a report.
No, there are two things. One is, you see, the non-performance of the government is not always due to corruption. There are arrogance of offices there. Hey, don't disturb me when I'm coming here, we're working, I got another case, you don't come now.
Just like how I do to my intern.
Maybe, be that as it may. I don't have much experience with your thing. What I would say is, if they come like that, then we will respond to that. We will ask that officer, look here, this man has come to you for complaint. You didn't even take the complaint. Now, should I go to the disciplinary authority and carry this complaint to him? Or would you do it yourself and all? If he gives an option, say you do it, I will do it and all, then we'll see that he does it within a few days at a time. So that way, we have telephoned and told an officer, look, here is a man waiting for a birth certificate, he wants a job in the thing, you're not giving it. We do not know whether it's because you want bribe or you don't want to give it to the thing. And you tell us what is what and we'll then look into it and all. They say, no, send that man, we'll give it and all, they would say.
Was it because of the power invested in the post, or was it because the popularity of the of Lokayukta that...
No, the job of the Lokayukta itself is one which should get popularity.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people suffer from in the hands of the government. When you don't get relief from that person, then the only way out is to go to file a writ petition at 226. Now a writ petition, how many years it takes in a court of law? How much money you have to spend? Here there is no such thing at all and all. You come and tell us, it may be a small case, it could be a big case also. It could be a question of tender.
Has it ever happened where you just thought it was just one small case and it ended up becoming a bigger case? Something which became very popular. If you can give us a couple of
very many cases. I can give you any number of things. Take for example, in 2008, a couple came to me with a 6-month-old child. I said, what's the problem? They said, this child looks perfectly all right, but this child has no anus. So it eats through the mouth, defecates through the mouth. We took the child to a government hospital. There the doctor said, give me so much money, I'll rectify it. Otherwise, I won't do anything and all. Otherwise, no, I'll make a hole near the rib cage from where the fecal matters will go. And the child has to wear a bag throughout the life and all. Now, we went to private hospitals, everybody demanded money, he didn't have that much of money and all. So our officers took the child to Manipal Hospital in Old Airport Road and did the operation. The child is 12-year-old girl today, perfectly all right, nothing wrong with her. Now, this is not a thing they provided in the Lokayukta Act, take the child to hospital, get it done and beg the doctors to do it. But we out of our humanism, we took the child to the thing and got it done. Now today, every year on her birthday, that child's father sends me a photograph asking me to wish the child a birthday gift. Do you know how happy I feel in that? This is a job which is not only you can do outside the scope of the act. By taking the initiative to see that the relief is granted. Relief is, we don't send the child back to the government hospital because we know what will happen there and all. So we take the child to another independent hospital. I said, we don't have money to, please help them out and all. So these are the things where when you sit in that chair, the humanism in you prevails over all other things and all. When we give a direction to the government servant also, we don't threaten them, we'll see, recommend your dismissal or a punishment to you, nothing. Please see that this man's job is done. If he doesn't do it, yes, we know how to proceed with this thing and all. But basically, this is an organization who should respond to the problems of the people. Very often, it is not even a problem of the government servant. But we do, if it is possible to give relief, we are given relief in that cases also.
Talking about powers now, once you have already talked enough of the powers which is vested with the Lokayuktas, what the Lokayukta can actually do. Now, what are the things which the Lokayukta doesn't have powers, because of which it becomes a handicap for Lokayukta to actually work on? Because we have seen post your tenure, there has been situations wherein the Lokayukta has been removed entirely. The ACB came in and then the Lokayukta was In fact, it was paralyzed. It wasn't working.
Yeah, no, because the government do not want a popular organization like that which is fighting against them.
So what are the handicaps and how?
No, there is no handicap with the thing, Government, if it wants to close it tomorrow, they can close it tomorrow. Nobody can question that unless somebody goes to the court and fights it as a malafide action and all. Because any act of malice is ab initio void is the law. It may be within the framework of law, even other contractual rights and other things. That principle is there and all. But frankly, what Lokayukta should today, should recognize its capacity to help people. It is not only an organization to fight corruption. There is a bigger organization of power which it has and all, in helping people for all the mistakes it suffers from the government, not private citizen. It has no authority over a private citizen. But government, yes, now government is also taking so many contractual jobs and other things, When they come in that area, Lokayukta gets the jurisdiction to control their unilateral act of saying, today's government functioning is so very arrogant to the thing, People don't have the legal right. In democracy, people are the most important people. Because meaning of the word democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people. But things have changed. He who is a government servant always thinks rest of the citizens are below him and all. That is not. That is a concept which can be neutralized by Lokayukta by helping poor people. Rich people will manage their...
What do you think about this 40%, 20% corruption thing? Do you think Lokayukta was missing the point all this
No,
while?
when I was there, that 40% question was not there. It could be 5%, 10%. But we did a lot of work in regard to that.
No, what do you think about the current situation? Because we keep hearing this 40% Sarkara and...
It is must be so, because if in the Madala's Sampath, I think his name is Sampath, their officer, 40 lakhs was found in his possession when the videographing was there, which money was giving, money was taking, money was counted and everything. And it is 40% means how much money, But then, what was before this was also no less. The opposition which is in power today admit that during their time it was 10% corruption. But their time is about 12 years, 15 years back. Then rupee value was much more than what it is today. Today rupee value must be 40% per rupee, and there must be at that time 60% at least. So it is also comes to the same level when it comes to purchase power with the thing. Therefore, that issue is may not be a matter which it should be 40% or 10%. Question is there corruption or not? That's the thing.
So do you think corruption can be eradicated completely?
No, never.
As a Lokayukta,
yes, I am telling you, corruption is a consequence of a disease called greed. Greed is created by God. At least it is kept in front of the man, and he was asked, you want to take it, you take it. You want to be a content man, don't take it. God wants to see who's doing what and all. You see, when I was young, the greed was so little comparatively. And if somebody was corrupt, everybody recognized that man as corrupt.
Probably you didn't see the opportunities.
At that point of time, no, there was opportunity. If not me, my father might have an opportunity. But he didn't do it. He told us, if somebody was taken to jail in my village, he would tell us, don't go near that house. There was a social boycott of people at that point of time.
Today people celebrate.
Yeah, in today's people, what and all, even the parents say, oh, look at that, that money was there, why did you not accept it and all. That's the attitude of the people. That's why I have been preaching now for the last 11, 12 years since I retired to the students, inculcate just two values. One is contentment in life, other is humanism.
How do you get it?
That's the benefit. Where did I get it? If I was corrupt, having named 3 chief ministers and so many ministers and all, after my retirement, they would have dragged me to the street, stripped me and pointed out that this chap is corrupt or immoral or something. Nobody could do it. I speak every day about all these officers and all ministers and others and all publicly. I criticize them, even today. But nobody has been able to drag me out to the streets.
Has there been a case wherein you actually did all you could do, and at the end of the day you see the guy coming out and still scrawling at you and saying things like, whatever you did in your capacity, you still couldn't implicate me?
Yeah, not in that many words, but other words people have said, I have named 3 chief ministers. Only one went to jail for 24 days. Even he was also acquitted thereafter by the court. Others, even the charge sheet is not yet filed and all. Why? Because they are powerful people, and people who came after me were not interested in pursuing the matter, the thing and all.
Why do you think? Is it because the appointment, the criteria for appointing
that was also changed?
Is with them?
Yeah, they changed it. During my time, it could be only a retired Supreme Court judge or a retired Chief Justice of a High Court. Now they have brought it down to any judge with 10 years experience in the High Court and all. Therefore, they want to dilute the whole process of...
Why didn't anyone put a petition?
If government decides it and all, it's a law. You can't, remove or change it by bringing pressure from outside. Anyway, that's the thing now, because they don't want a strong Lokayukta. I don't want to comment about what my successors and others and all. But the fact is, the government of the day, whichever government is there, it doesn't want a strong Lokayukta or an independent Lokayukta. To me, they have said, I'm a useless chap. My nightlife should be audited. I'm not an honest person. Without even having to point out where and how do they get this information. I have only one apartment in the whole world. I'll stop at that.
Yeah.
I also could have minted money.
In fact, if you hadn't chosen Lokayukta, is what I heard earlier.
If I
made more money than
if I had not become a judge, I would have earned more money as a lawyer, and I'll be still working as a lawyer. I retired at the age of 65.
Have you ever thought? See, because you were popular. First thing is you were very popular once you left the office of Lokayukta. Have you ever thought of entering politics?
I had opportunity earlier. I was never into that. I just wanted to continue to be a lawyer, and that was it. But
because when you see officers, the IPS officers, the IFS officers, even IAS officers, and not just them, even lower rung officers as well, they tend to get in, what do you say? They voluntarily retire,
come to election.
Stand for the elections. Yeah. They even become the jumping goose.
Yeah,
nowadays everyone does.
Yeah, everybody does it. No, IAS, IPS officers do it. Politicians, judges also, when they retire, they come to elections. Why? Because it's the most profitable business, not to serve the people. If anybody says I'm coming to serve the people, I know how to laugh at myself.
Yeah, but you knew that as being a Lokayukta, you knew what corruption was. You knew there is power in politics, which can actually help you cut down most of it.
No, I'll tell you.
What do you think?
I had my opportunity to join in politics, and very close of it. I was with Anna Hazare after I retired, and no Supreme Court judge has ever come to that meeting, protest meetings and all. And one part of it became politics, and their argument was, look here, sir, if you don't get into politics and show to them that you can lead an honest life without the thing and all, I said, look here, I don't want to prove anything to anybody else. I want to see how will you work when you become politics.
What do you think about them now?
I don't have a good opinion either, because there were some serious charges against them and all, about the liquor scam and all. The other thing.
Do you think they are part of this?
I'm not prejudging it, but then you should understand one thing. Without material, they can't send it and 2 ministers to jail there.
Because they still have to be implicated on
correct. Let the court decide it. Who can decide it? Neither can Kejriwal decide it or Sisodia decide it and all, nor can the Prime Minister decide it and all. The matter is in the court. You suspect everything that is done by the ruling party is wrong today. Okay. When you were in the opposition, you were ruling blaming the other side and all. So it is let the court decide it. I am sure one thing is correct in their statement, that there are a lot of corrupt people in the ruling party, but they are not being prosecuted by their own party. That you do it when you come to power, because you will do the same thing. I know.
Because it's a political.
It should not be so, but that is a normal practice today. You want to expose only the other side, not about yourself and all. You have never put the mirror in your own face and all.
So can I put it in this manner? Like, they might be or they are corrupt? How do you put it?
They are. From the allegation, they are corrupt. I don't know. I don't have personal knowledge of it. But these are all investigations. Nobody has been sent to jail. Sending jail is by an independent authority, judiciary. If you are acquitted there, which of course after 50 years, then you point out to them, so take them to this thing.
What do you think about cases like, sorry, not cases, there is ED, there's CBI, and there's Lokayukta as well, right? So, why do you think the state government doesn't actually think that something like Lokayukta or ACB can actually handle cases which are given to the CBI or the ED? Why do
No, because they don't want an independent body like Lokayukta to investigate. Because sometimes they would want to close the case, as is happening today in that recent this thing. It started in a big way. You catch 6 crores, 40 lakhs, and everything. Suddenly, the next day, the leader of the raiding team is taken out and all. Suddenly, the lawyer for the EB saying it doesn't appear in the court at all.
So, do you think the Lokayukta doesn't actually have powers to send a lawyer to the court when something of this kind happens?
What do you mean Lokayukta doesn't? He has all the powers of appointing who the lawyer should represent him.
So he himself didn't do it? Is what you're saying?
I don't know what's the cause, but then he should take action against the lawyer for not appearing.
One last question. What do you think is the future of Lokayukta? And Lokayukta not being part of any other state, or maybe, I don't know exactly how many states have Lokayuktas.
Not many. Many states have it and all, many don't have it and all. But I would want you to answer your first part of the question. It is before the governments of this state what Lokayukta did, what Lokayukta didn't do. Now, if they are honest, people-friendly government, they should come forward and rectify all those shortcomings in the administration of Lokayukta and see that proper people are appointed to the Lokayukta post.
Why will they do it? That's where we started our entire discussion, in fact.
Correct. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. That means who's responsible then? Then why did you create this Lokayukta?
Because of the pressure.
That's exactly. Then let the people know.
So you mean to say the advocacy groups or the people pressure can only change it?
There's no other way. In a democracy, it's only the people who can change. Now, the people of Karnataka should know. If this is the manner in which corruption is being fought in this state, then they deserve a different government. I'm not saying Congress, because so far as my experience is concerned, there's very little difference between the three political parties that they are there.
What about the other set of parties which are coming in?
I got my own doubts about them. So that is why I'm trying to change the society today. I want the youth of this country or this state to inculcate two values and later on in their life give importance to those two values.
What would you like to tell them? What exactly you want to tell them?
Please inculcate two values. One is contentment in life. If you have contentment, you don't get greed. If you don't have greed, there will be no corruption. The second is humanism. Without humanism, there will be no peace and solidarity in the society. Humanism is not born with you. Humanism is a value you have to acquire during the course of your life. And if you acquire humanism, then you become a human being. Our elders have written in the local language in Kannada, ಏನೇ ಆಗು ನನಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದವನಾಗು ಆದರೆ ಮೊದಲು ಮಾನವನಾಗು. Become what you want to become, but become a human being first. What a wonderful statement. To that, I have added something of my own. ಹುಟ್ಟುವಾಗ ಮಾನವನಾಗಿ ಹುಟ್ಟದೇ ಇದ್ದರೂ ಜೀವನ ಪಥದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾನವೀಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಅಳವಡಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಸಾಯುವಾಗ ಮಾನವನಾಗಿ ಸತ್ತರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೇಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಗೌರವ ಇಲ್ಲ. Even if you are not born as a human being, in the journey of your life, if you acquire humanism and die as a human being, there is no better glory than that. If you acquire these two values, humanism and contentment in life, you can keep a huge disease called greed and lack of humanism out of society. Then there will be peace and solidarity. Without peace and solidarity, your life is not worth living.